Welcome back to our series on William Shakespeare's Hamlet. In our last episode, we walked through some of the most powerful scenes in the play: the ghost's haunting warning, Hamlet's world-famous soliloquy, Ophelia's descent into madness, and the deadly final duel. Today, in episode 9, we turn our focus to something equally fascinating: not what happens in Hamlet, but how Shakespeare tells the story. This episode is all about Shakespeare's stagecraft and structure, the techniques he used to shape the play and keep his audience emotionally hooked scene after scene. We'll explore the 5-act structure, dramatic techniques like irony and soliloquy, how Shakespeare uses tension and pacing, his clever use of theatrical elements, and how he kept both noble characters and groundlings, the common audience, totally engaged. Hamlet, like many of Shakespeare's plays, follows a 5-act structure. This is a classical way of organizing a drama, going all the way back to Greek tragedies and Roman playwrights like Seneca. Let's break down each act. Act 1, Exposition. This is where the story begins. We meet key characters: Hamlet, Claudius, Gertrude, Polonius, and Horatio. The ghost of King Hamlet appears on the battlements, creating mystery and fear. We learn that Hamlet's father has been murdered by his uncle Claudius, who has now married his mother. The ghost tells Hamlet to get revenge. This act sets the stage. The mood is dark. The theme of death is introduced. Suspense begins to build. Act 2, Rising Action. Now the story deepens. Hamlet begins to act mad, or at least pretend to hide his intentions. He struggles with indecision. He arranges for actors to perform a play that will reflect his father's murder and expose Claudius's guilt. This act raises the tension. People in the court start to suspect Hamlet. No one is sure what he's up to, and neither is he. Act 3, Climax. This is the turning point of the play, the most intense moment. Hamlet delivers the famous to be or not to be soliloquy, revealing his inner turmoil. The play within the play, the mousetrap, is performed. Claudius reacts with guilt. Hamlet knows the truth. Hamlet mistakenly kills Polonius, thinking he's Claudius. This changes everything. Hamlet can no longer pretend. His actions have real consequences. The tragedy begins to unfold. Now we see the results of the climax. Claudius sends Hamlet to England with secret orders to have him killed. Ophelia loses her mind from grief and confusion. Laertes, her brother, returns, furious and ready for revenge. Hamlet escapes and returns to Denmark. Everything is now racing toward a deadly end. Act 5, Catastrophe. The final act delivers the tragic conclusion. In the graveyard, Hamlet reflects on death and mortality. He agrees to a duel with Laertes. Claudius, Laertes, Gertrude, and Hamlet all die in the final scene. Only Horatio survives to tell the story. Fortinbras arrives to restore order. The end is sad but powerful. Justice is served, but at a high cost. The cycle of revenge is complete. One of Shakespeare's cleverest tools is dramatic irony, when the audience knows something that the characters do not. This creates suspense, tension, and sometimes even humor. Examples in Hamlet. Claudius's guilt. We know early on that Claudius murdered the king, but most characters don't. Hamlet's madness. We know Hamlet is pretending to be mad, but others think it's real. The poisoned cup. We know the wine is poisoned, but Gertrude drinks it, unaware. This technique keeps us emotionally involved. We want to warn the characters. We feel their danger more deeply. Dramatic irony also makes the audience feel smart, like we're in on a secret, which keeps us engaged. Soliloquies, a window into Hamlet's mind. No character in Shakespeare's works gives more soliloquies than Hamlet. A soliloquy is when a character speaks alone on stage, revealing their thoughts directly to the audience. These speeches allow us to see Hamlet's true self, not the actor, not the prince, but the man inside. Famous soliloquies include, "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt," his grief and anger, "What a rogue and peasant slave am I," his frustration at his own inaction, "To be or not to be," his philosophical debate about life and death. These moments slow down the action, but deepen the emotion. They allow us to reflect on what Hamlet is feeling, which makes the final tragedy more personal and heartbreaking. Soliloquies are part of what make Hamlet such a psychological play. Another strength of Shakespeare's stagecraft is pacing, how he moves the story forward. In Hamlet, he expertly balances fast-moving action, ghost appearances, Polonius's death, the duel, slow, thoughtful scenes, soliloquies, philosophical conversations, emotional breakdowns. This rhythm helps the audience stay engaged. Too much action would be overwhelming. Too much reflection might become boring. Shakespeare gives us time to think, then hits us with drama. He lets us breathe, then makes us gasp. This rise and fall in tension, like waves, keeps the play exciting and emotionally rich. Staging and spectacle, theatre tricks of the time. Even in the 1600s, Shakespeare was a master of visual drama. He used the stage not just for dialogue, but for action, spectacle, and surprise. Let's look at how he used the stage in Hamlet. The Ghost. The first scene includes fog, silence, and fear. The ghost likely wore armor and entered in eerie lighting, a terrifying moment. The play within the play, a scene that becomes theatre inside theatre. It's clever, layered, and very meta. Audiences would have loved it. Ophelia's madness. She enters with flowers, singing songs. Her strange behavior would have both disturbed and moved the audience. The duel. Sword fighting, poisoned blades, a goblet of wine. This final scene had real action. It brought the tragedy to a physical climax. Even with minimal scenery, Shakespeare used body language, facial expression, costumes, sound and light to enhance every moment. The Globe Theatre's open-air stage also meant the actors had to project energy and emotion to reach everyone, from the rich in the seats to the groundlings standing below. Use of minor characters, comic relief and commentary. Shakespeare knew that tragedy needed contrast, so he added minor characters who brought humor, lightness, or commentary. Here are a few in Hamlet. Polonius, long-winded, full of advice, often unintentionally funny. His talkative nature adds humor, but also serves as a warning about over-control. The gravedigger, he jokes about death, sings as he works, and talks with Hamlet about mortality. This scene mixes comedy with deep themes. Osric, a foolish courtier who speaks in fancy words but says little. He appears before the duel, offering comic relief before the bloodshed. These characters help the audience breathe. Their humor makes the sad moments even more powerful by contrast. Repetition and motifs, keeping themes alive. Shakespeare often repeated certain images and themes, called motifs. to keep his message strong. In Hamlet, these include death and decay, skulls, rotting flesh, graveyards, ghosts, reminders that life is short and fragile. Madness, Hamlet pretends to be mad. Ophelia actually loses her mind. It raises questions about sanity and truth, spying and watching. Characters hide behind curtains, eavesdrop, send spies, showing a world of distrust. These repeated elements create unity in the story. They remind the audience what's at stake and what themes they should think about. They also help students and viewers see patterns, a helpful tool in understanding the play's deeper meanings. Ending with reflection, a Shakespearean tradition. Shakespeare doesn't end his tragedies with just death. He often ends them with reflection. In Hamlet, Horatio's final words give meaning to all the pain. He says he will tell Hamlet's story so that his life and death are not forgotten. Then Fortinbras arrives, representing a new order, hope after tragedy, restoration after chaos. This is classic Shakespeare. After the storm comes calm, after death comes wisdom. The audience doesn't leave in despair, they leave with a sense of completion. Why Shakespeare's stagecraft still works. Even after 400 years, Hamlet remains one of the most performed and studied plays in the world. Why? Because Shakespeare's stagecraft is universal. He builds suspense, like a modern thriller. He shows deep human emotions, fear, love, guilt, rage. He balances light and dark, humor and horror. He speaks directly to the audience's heart. He knew how to keep people involved, in the 1600s and today. Whether you're sitting in a theatre, reading the play in class, or watching a film version, Shakespeare's structure and stage techniques still work their magic.